Student, so let's start the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland, it is the largest endocrine gland in the body, and it secretes the three hormones, that is triiodothyronine, means that is the T3, then the tetraiodothyronine, means that is T4, and the calcitonin. Then the functions which is done by the thyroid gland, that is it is regulate and maintain the basal metabolic rate in the body. Second function, that is it stimulate the psychosomatic growth of the body, and the third and the important function, that is it play important role in the calcium metabolism. So let's see the details of the thyroid gland. Then the location of the thyroid gland. So here you can see that is the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland, it should be located in the lower part of the front and the side of the neck, opposite to the C5, C6, C7 and the T1 vertebra, that is in the upper part of the trachea. So here you can see that is the trachea, and here that is the thyroid cartilage. So in the upper part of the trachea, that the location of the thyroid gland that should be present. Then weight and the dimension of the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland, weight of the thyroid gland, that is near about 25 gram, and each lobe of the thyroid gland, that is the two lobes are present. So each lobe of the thyroid gland, that is 5 cm long, 3 cm wide and 2 cm in thickness, that is 3, 5, 3, 2, that is the odd number. Then the isthmus measures about 1.5 cm. So this is the isthmus, middle part. It is about 1.25 cm in both vertical and the transverse diameter. Then let's see that is the special features related with the thyroid gland. Then special features of the thyroid gland, that is the thyroid gland, it is the only one endocrine gland which is located superficially in the body, and hence it is accessible for physical examination. Second one, it is only one endocrine gland that depend on external environment for raw material, that is the iodine, to synthesize its hormone. Then third one, it is the gland which does not pour hormones into the blood immediately after the formation, but it store them and it is releases whenever that is the need into that the blood. Then the fourth is, it is one of the organ of the body having the rich blood supply. So these are the important special features which is related by this the thyroid gland. Then let's see that is the parts of the thyroid gland. So it is the H shape and consisting of, that is the right and left lateral lobe. So here, and horizontally, that is the isthmus, they connect to that the both lobes. So here you can see that is the isthmus, and this is the right lateral lobe, and this is the left lateral lobe. Then sometimes that is the pyramidal lobe. So here you can see that is the pyramidal lobe, it projects upwards from the isthmus, usually to the left side of the midline, that may be present. No frequently it is connected to the body of the white bone, that is a fibrous or the fibromuscular band. So here you can see green color, that is called the levator glanduli thyroidi. This one, that is attached from the isthmus or from the pyramidal lobe to that the body of the white bone, but that is not always be present. Then each lateral lobe of the gland, it extends upward to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. So here you can see, and below up to that the fifth or sixth tracheal ring. Then the isthmus. So the isthmus, that should be extend across the midline in front of the second, third and the fourth tracheal rings. After then, that is the capsule of the thyroid gland. So for this we should have to see that is the another diagram. So here you can see that is the capsule. So thyroid gland, that should be invested by the two capsule, that is the inner capsule, it is called the true capsule. So here you can see this is the thyroid gland, and that is very much adherent to this, that is called the true capsule, and the false capsule. So here this one, which is present outer side of this gland. So let's see, that is the true capsule. So the true capsule, it is formed by the peripheral condensation of the fibrous stroma. Then the false capsule, this one, it is derived from the splitting of pretracheal fascia. And the features of, that is the false capsule, these are, that is, it is thin along the posterior border of the lateral lobe, and it is thick on the medial surface of the lateral lobe. Then the dense venous plexus, here you can see these are the veins. So these are the venous plexus that should be same like the prostate gland. It lies deep to that the true capsule, and therefore to avoid the hemorrhage during the thyroidectomy, the thyroid gland, it should be removed along with that the true capsule. So this, during the thyroidectomy, the true capsule cannot be ripe or it cannot be striped out. Parts and the relations of the thyroid gland or the thyroid lobe. So each lobe of the thyroid gland, it is roughly pyramidal or conical in shape, and because of this it occurs the apex. So this one, that is the base, this one, then the three surfaces, that is, this is the lateral surface, opposite to it medial surface, and this is the posterolateral surface, and the two borders, that is the anterior border, this one, and this is the posterior border. Then let's see, that is the apex of the thyroid lobe. So apex, it should be directed upwards and slightly laterally, and it extends up to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. Then after then, that is the base. So this one. So the base extends up to the 5th to 6th tracheal ring, and it is related to the inferior thyroid artery. Then the lateral or the superficial surface. So this one. So it is the convex and covered by the three muscles, that is the sternothyroid, sternoid, and the superior belly of the omohyoid muscle. Then medial surface means inner surface. So the two tubes, that is the trachea and the esophagus. So here you can see that is the esophagus and this is the trachea. So that should be related. Then the two muscles, that is the constrictor and the cricothyroid, and the two cartilages, that is the thyroid cartilage and this is the cricoid cartilage. Then the posterolateral surface. So this one. So it is related with the carotid sheath, and content is, that is the common carotid artery and the internal jugular vein and the vagus nerve. Then the anterior border. So this one. So it is thin and separates the superficial medial surface and related with the anterior branch of the superior thyroid artery. Then that is the posterior border. So this one. So it is thick, rounded, and separates the medial and the posterolateral surface, and it is related with the arterial anastomosis between superior and the inferior thyroid artery. So here in this diagram you can see that is the anastomosis of, this is the superior thyroid artery and this is the inferior thyroid artery, this one. This is the anastomosis. Then the relations of the isthmus. So here, that is the isthmus. So the isthmus, it is the horizontal and present the two surfaces, that is the anterior surface and the posterior surface, and the two border, this is the superior border and this is the inferior border. Then the then the anterior surface. So the anterior surface, it is covered by the anterior jugular vein and the sternoid and the sternothyroid muscle. Then the posterior surface, that is related with the 2nd, 3rd and the 4th tracheal rings. So here you can see that is the trachea and the tracheal rings are related. Then the superior border related with the anastomosis of superior and the inferior thyroid artery. Then the inferior border, this one, that is the inferior thyroid vein emerges from this region. So that is the inferior border. Then let's see, that is the arterial supply of the thyroid gland. So here in this diagram you can see that is the arterial supply, this one. So majorly that the thyroid gland, it is supplied by the superior thyroid artery. So here you can see this is the superior thyroid artery, this one, that is the branch of external carotid artery. And second one artery, that is the inferior thyroid artery, so this one, which is the branch of subclavian artery, this one. The venous drainage, this one. So the venous drainage of the thyroid gland, that should be occurs by, firstly that is the superior thyroid vein, so this one, here you can see. So it emerges from the upper pole of the thyroid lobe, runs upwards and laterally and drain into, that is the internal jugular vein, so this one, that is the internal jugular vein. Then the second one, that is the middle thyroid vein, so this one. So it is the short, wide and the venous channel emerges from the middle of the lobe of the thyroid gland, and it is enters into, that is the internal jugular vein, so this one. Then the inferior thyroid vein, so this one, they emerges at the lower border of the isthmus from the plexus in front of the trachea, and then run downwards and drain into that the brachiocephalic vein, so this one, left brachiocephalic vein. And sometimes that is the fourth vein, that is the thyroid vein, so this one, or that is called the Kocher's vein, this one, emerges between the middle and the inferior thyroid vein and to drain into that the internal jugular vein. Then the lymphatic drainage, so here you can see that is the lymphatic drainage of the thyroid gland. So that is the lymph vessels draining from the thyroid gland are arranged into that the two groups, that is the upper group, so this one, it should be drain the prelaryngeal and the upper deep cervical lymph nodes, this one, prelaryngeal and the upper deep cervical lymph nodes. Then the lower group, so this one, it is drained into the pretracheal and the lower deep cervical lymph nodes, so that is the lymphatic drainage. The nerve supply of the thyroid gland, that is, it is supplied by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves. So the parasympathetic, that is derived from the vagus and recurrent laryngeal nerve. So here you can see that is the recurrent laryngeal nerve, so this one. And the sympathetic supply, it is derived from the superior, middle and inferior cervical sympathetic ganglia, but mainly from the middle one. So that is the nerve supply of the thyroid gland. After then, let's see that is the histology of the thyroid gland, so this one. So the thyroid gland, it consists of the two types of the secretory cell, that is the follicular cell and the parafollicular cell. So here you can see that is the follicular cells are present, and this one, that is the parafollicular cells, this one. So that is the follicular cell. So the follicular cells, these are the cuboidal epithelial cell forming the wall of the spherical thyroid follicle. So here you can see that is the pericle. They secrete the two hormones, that is the thyroxine and triiodothyronine, means that is the T3 and the T4, and those hormones are essential for the normal growth and the development, especially of the skeletal and the nervous system. Then the parafollicular cells, so these are, so these cells, that is also called the C cell, and that is lie mainly between that the basement membrane and the follicular cell. Some of them also lie the spaces between the follicles. they secrete the hormone that is called the thyrocalcitonin, or that is also called the calcitonin, and it plays important role in the calcium metabolism. It reduces the blood calcium level by reducing the reabsorption of the calcium by the renal tubule, and this effect is opposite to that of the parathyroid. So that is the histology of the thyroid gland. Then let's say that is the clinical or the applied anatomy. First clinical point related with the thyroid gland, that is the thyroid gland moves up and down during the swallowing, and that is occurs because its capsule is attached to the laryngeal cartilage and the white bone, which moves up and down during the swallowing, and that is the reason thyroid swelling can be distinguished clinically from the other swelling in the region of the neck, as it is moved upward and downward during the swallowing. Then the second clinical point, that is sometimes that is the thyroid tumor extends backwards as the capsule is thin into the posterior border of the lateral lobe. So it compresses the adjacent structure without forming a visible swelling on the front of the neck. So that is the clinical point. The next clinical point, that is any swelling related with the thyroid gland, that means that is the thyroid goiter, should be palpated from behind. So in this manner. Then the removal of the thyroid gland, that is called the thyroidectomy with the true capsule, may be necessary in hyperthyroidism. Then next to it, that is the thyroid goiter. So here you can see that is the any swelling of the thyroid gland except into that the menstruation, that is called the thyroid goiter. The benign tumor of the gland may be displaced and even compresses the neighboring structure like the carotid sheath, the trachea, etc. The malignant growth that should be tend to invade and erode the neighboring structure, that is the pressure symptoms and the nerve involvements are common in the carcinoma of the gland. Then the hypothyroidism occurs when there is insufficient secretion of the T3 and the T4, and decrease the level of the T3 T4 causes the increase the secretion of the TSH. So in the hypothyroidism, it causes the cretinism in the children and the myxedema in the adult. So in the TSH, that is the T3 T4 level is decreases and the TSH level is increases. And in the hyperthyroidism, or that is also called the thyrotoxicosis, it occurs due to excess secretion of T3 and T4. So clinically it presents the tachycardia, tremors and the systolic bruit. The main effect is due to increase the BMR rate. So during the thyroidectomy, the superior thyroid artery is ligated near the gland to save the external laryngeal nerve, and the inferior thyroid artery, it is ligated away from the gland to save the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Then the congenital anomaly related with the thyroid gland. The development of the thyroid gland may occur the congenital anomalies, that is thyroglossal cyst or the fistula. Second one, that is the one of the lobes may be absent or isthmus may be absent. The descent of the thyroglossal duct may go behind the definitive position in the neck to superior mediastinum. So these are the congenital anomaly related with the thyroid gland. Then that is the benign tumor of the thyroid gland. So this one, it may compresses or also displace the neighboring structure, whereas the malignant growth tends to invade surrounding structure. So these are the clinical points related with the thyroid gland.